Hey there. So I just finished off an upload by TVO, Slow TV, and it was about the French River. Now I've crossed the French River more than a few times on Highway 69, and I stopped once during the winter coming back from Sault Ste. Marie, just as COVID was starting, and I hopped out and I stomped my way close to the river and the snowmobile bridge, and then took a panoramic shot. I visited the giant coin that's at Sault Ste. Marie, the nickel, I think it is. I had a cold sore. I get cold sores when I'm really stressed. And yeah, they're really embarrassing. I don't like being around other people when I have them. It's also really painful, nonetheless. Not just painful to look at. And I'm thinking about, I just can't help but think about the things that I want to think about. And a lot of stuff I think about, of course, has to do with society and psychology. So sociology and psychology, history, politics, all of these heady, abstract things. And now I'm watching one of the other videos by TVO, this Slow TV, which I really enjoy. And I'm thinking about the Muskokas in my childhood. Of course, I'm wearing my Scout Cubs, Cub Scout wolf. The whole thing. And how much more it felt like we valued the outdoors before the internet, because, well, there wasn't an internet, so you more or less you had to do something. It was just preoccupied by something else. Too much TV, whatever it is. So, I mentioned in other videos, I grew up in Barrie. We lived there. We went to a church camp in Severn Bridge in the Muskokas, and it used to be a lot cheaper to live in those areas, but then a lot of rich people, they bought up all of these cottages and summer homes, and it really was it was a status symbol, amongst people here down south, or anywhere in Ontario, really, to have a cottage or something along those lines. And I've mentioned this in other videos, but I don't expect other people to watch all 600 videos or whatever it is now. And it's like, I'm thinking about, the trope, a man holding a fish or doing something outdoorsy, and how women make fun of that. And the reason why I'm thinking about this, postulating a reason as to why you would want to humiliate a man like that, is because we don't value hands-on skills. And this is a message that's been going on for, I don't know, 20 years or more. We value the abstract and the electronic more than we do anything that's concrete or physical, because this is the internet's the only thing that makes money anymore. If it makes sense, it doesn't make dollars. If it makes dollars, it doesn't make sense. I'll say that again. If it makes sense, it doesn't make dollars. And if it makes dollars, it doesn't make sense. And then, if we don't appreciate the outdoors, and we don't appreciate the people that can survive in the outdoors, then we don't appreciate people. Right? This is why we teach history to people. So our history to each other is so that we know and that we understand how difficult life was for generations before us, and how many conveniences that we have. And because of those conveniences and the wealth that we have, you remember, gluttony breeds contempt, not familiarity. That we create these imaginary problems, like feminism or even transgenderism. These imaginary problems. This is not a new subject of or topic of discussion. But I, like many other young men of my generation, especially after the loosening of divorce laws, and the promotion of promiscuity, culturally speaking, I did not have a great relationship with my father, and I still don't. We don't see eye to eye. We never really have. And he was never really there for the important moments because he was off being a salesman or raising funds, making that Harry Lowman sacrifice, a workaholic even. I can't think of a reason why, other than to make men dependent and weaker individually and collectively, so as to bring women up and to bring up gay men who prototypically wouldn't seek out these spaces. Stereotypically would not seek out these spaces within the wild and test themselves. Because, it's not like Brokeback Mountain. Homosexuality is a luxury of the rich. Because, for human survival, it is a necessity to find, as a man, a female partner. It's a necessity. And likewise, a woman to find a man. And I'm looking at the, again, there's some figures on YouTube that are the complete opposite of this snowflake, this soft and delicate and fragile, and weak, undisciplined, impulsive, and childish demographic of people. And again, that's done on purpose to infantilize people into consumers, so that they are so dependent upon the capitalist system at large, is that they don't remember how to even tie a reef knot. Reef knot, fisherman's line, those are the two most, and a bowline, those are the three most used knots in my repertoire. Or a double bowline. The stuff that I would use for trapping and snaring if it was really that case. Thankfully, beavers are a lot more populous than they used to be. I'm not talking about eating young children. But I referenced this in Alaskan Bear Tales, something about how again, the strength of women, or the concept of feminine, strong femininity, was manipulated into this thing that only has a straw man argument to hold it up and support it, because there's no reason at all anymore for this idea of female inferiority. There never was, and that's one of the illusions, or like one of the lies sold to women of my generation and younger, and even a little bit older, because it comes down to how we think about things. And then there's no denying the biology is that we think about things differently, and the way that we think affects how we behave, because of behavior and neural pathways are solidified by the repetition of a behavior. All the old habits die hard. It takes 21 days or whatever it is, that principle, to make or break a new habit. But we don't care about this tribal knowledge. We don't care, right? And therefore we don't care about the people that care about the land. I'm not going to ramble on about my accomplishments and how disingenuous that feels. Oh yeah, I did this, I did that when I was younger. Just another washed up has-been. No, yeah, I had a couple of shows, I've done a couple of commissions, a few commissions here and there. And yet still, that doesn't mean I'm appreciated. The death of society occurs when the art dies, and when access to nature dies with it. The affordability of retreat, not just from other people, but from the internet itself. There is such a thing as toxic socialization. Any introvert will tell you this. The social battery. And again, these areas, that are by the water have been made exclusive. They've been made unobtainable. But I can see, as by the remote work thing, the redistribution of property. And now we're mentioning that so we're right about this April 22nd, 2024. So we're right about the Liberal budget, and they're talking about increasing capital gains or whatever it was. So the transference of wealth from a sale. So that was, house flipping ended a long time ago. And then it's just not profitable anymore. Then that Bitcoin halving just happened. It's at $90,000 Canadian or whatever it is. And I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. People like me don't need money to survive. The smarter you are, the less money you have. This is why the natives laugh at us, you know, and a lot of them do. It's because we don't appreciate what's in front of us. And you know what? Northern Ontario is a cold and brutal place, austere and remote in a lot of cases. Very, you know, once you get off the beaten path, there isn't very much up there. And they really are survival scenarios where one decision could end your life quite quickly. Again, I could speak volumes of all the things that I've done. But even my own family doesn't give a shit anymore. My community didn't give a shit about my art career. I was just another name, another young person, another individual to dismiss because I wasn't famous yet, or I wasn't from here, or some stupid shit like that. Whatever it was. You know, I sat down with the curator, the former curator, he was a man, at Museum London years ago, after I volunteered for something. I think it was like Doors Open. I made every right choice that I needed to make in my life in order to be afforded the position and the privilege of being an artist. But because of politics and because of who I am and what I represent as a person, that was all done away with. Opportunities for me evaporated. They evaporated. And again, I could see the writing on the wall as this was happening. But no one gave a shit. No one wanted to listen to me. And so that's when the depression happens. That's when the suicidal ideation happens. This is why people like me, who are highly capable people, highly trained, very, very intelligent, we don't need therapy. We need support. We need, you know, time away. You spend your entire life trying to achieve something. Cubs and Scouts, Brownies, whatever else, they're supposed to be family, or at least parent-child activities. This isn't all done with the Scout troop or with the Cub pack, the Wolf's Den. You know, I had so many of these filled out, but I didn't have. But some of them required adult assistance. And again, my dad, he just wasn't there for a lot of it, and that continued all the way through my teenage years. I had surrogates, had people babysitting, and sometimes they were men from Teen Challenge Farm. Where did my... And nothing ever happened. Nothing ever happened. Again, we tore down the symbols as a society, and we just allowed it to happen because people don't want to get into conflict. People don't like risking their lives for or their reputations or their livelihoods for anything because they're cowards and they don't understand what life is truly about. I would like to think that I figured life out by me making this video, and that laws don't matter, money doesn't matter, material doesn't matter, spirituality doesn't even matter. Because while you're alive, the only thing that matters is your relationship with other people and with nature. You may think Ontario is a cute and cuddly place, but it isn't. It really isn't. And I haven't even finished exploring it yet. Yeah, it gets tiring, gets repetitive after a while. Because, you know, at the end it's just a bunch of rocks and trees, right? Different formations and such. And that's where it's really sad that you could become indifferent to the beauty of nature. Again, I'm watching this one. It's the Rideau Canal now. But all, you know, it's like, well, what do I make a priority? Do I make rent this month, or do I go on this camping trip? Your debt doesn't matter. Rack that shit up. Get the fucking credit cards canceled. They're part of the reason we're in this situation to begin with. You know, these controls, the financial controls, the constraints, these made up levers and mechanisms that don't mean shit. They don't mean shit. A lift lock means something. It makes people's lives easier. It makes society better. They become symbols and living entities. But the majority of people just don't give a shit. And they will die in their cubicles in their apartment buildings. Because they weren't smart enough to take it in. And there's a part of me that wants to leave them there. Because they wouldn't appreciate me anyways. I may never find my audience as an artist. And this is these thoughts, watching the internet become what it is, and fighting off that existential depression. And what's the point of me existing anymore? What's the point, right? I'm an oil painter. No one gives a shit about fucking landscapes anymore. Landscape painters in Canada are a fucking dime a dozen. Because when I was, back in 2011, 2012, 2013, immediately after breaking up with my girlfriend at the time, and as a tangent, we like to think that breakups are one-sided. But both parties involved have involvement or lack of involvement. That I made every right move that I was supposed to in order to have an art career. Volunteer, do something for the community. But that didn't get me where I needed to. Because if it didn't have something to do with cuffing the Duke, and taking down masculinity, supporting feminism and transgenderism, that it wouldn't succeed. These ideas of sexual liberation. What good is a whore if she can't paddle a fucking canoe? That's where I'm at. What good is a Tinder date if the only thing that she knows how to do is make a pot of coffee? I'm not looking, to put this into this half hour of thinking about the French River. I am not looking for a weak woman. And there's so many weak women out there. It's just there's this fantasy about relationships online that it's you can maintain a relationship on sex and sex alone, but you can't. In the majority of our lives, we're not having sex anyways. I mean, think about the voyageurs, and people of the pioneering era. And they might not ever see a woman naked in their lives. And that was what? That reality was 30 years ago, 40 years ago even. There's people now within the world that never see the opposite sex in their lives. There's so many people out there in this life that don't ever have sex. And we pornography everything. And that's part of the propaganda, and I talk about this, the dopamine burnout and so on and so forth. And this is why I look at the outdoors and I look at people of my generation and the trends that happen and how this is, I know this is happening, and I know that it's going to continue to happen as our parents die and the wealth transfer happens. That more of us will have cottages, more of us will have boats, more of us will have trailers at trailer parks, at church camps in the Muskoka, motorhomes or whatever else, RVs. And people in British Columbia, you know, they have a better understanding of what life is, because it's unignorable, right? You either break your back on the fucking big white, or you break your back in a factory somewhere, you know, stripping logs of their bark. Life is hard. It's hard, okay? And it takes our involvement to get through it. You can't just wait and watch for life to happen. I know it sounds like a trope or a stereotype or something, something that everybody says. Like awkward small talk. You know, when the other person doesn't know what to say, so that we start talking about generalities and happiness and so forth, the good things in life. I don't want to, well, that's pretty much me. You know, I don't want to talk about the good things in life. I want to talk about suffering. I want to talk about one of the greatest scams ever sold to humankind. And to my generation, or people around my generation. You know, it used to be affordable to do this stuff. But then I see a meme in which someone's highlighting, oh, look, these people spent more on camping gear than I did in my fucking 2 months of paying rent. You know, don't look down on the homeless. That's a simple one. I might end up homeless myself one day. And I might not give a shit. To a lot of people, becoming homeless is the end of their world. Because they don't have real world skills. They don't have survival skills. And then we're so quick to throw this stuff away once it's over with. Oh, don't need that anymore. How wrong you all are. And how hard I'll be laughing at all of you. If and when shit does hit the fan. You know, people get annoyed with me. People get angry with me because I don't give a shit about finances. One, because I'm really good with money. And two, because it doesn't mean anything. Money don't mean shit. Credit don't mean shit. my my FIDA score in chess doesn't mean shit. My life, as far as I'm concerned, won't mean shit unless I find a partner in life. This is great to go out and do all these things. It is to witness them in your own life. But what's the point in doing these things after a while if there's not someone to share it with? And if we don't do these things, we stop appreciating the spouses in the family in our lives. And that's why it's the evisceration of programs like Scouts and the assault on the symbology of Frontier Canada, of pioneering Canada, was assaulted and destroyed by the by the campaign, which is all children matter, right? All lives matter, whatever it is. Because the record is not exactly what we think it is. And it's arrogant to think that the Catholics of that era were intentionally causing harm to these people. And I'm sure, yes, there are incidences. But, I think about the relationship of the natives and the settlers. And it was from what I can gather, it's a lot better than what we think it is. Because we thrive on controversy, right? Especially and drama when there isn't any challenges to face. It's not getting any easier, especially, again, for people of my generation and close to it. We will not see the prosperity of our parents or our grandparents even, because we betrayed our true resources, our true wealth. For equality, equity, uncompromising, absolute, uniformity. And as I've said in other videos, extreme uniformity is psychotic. So that means absolute organization is psychotic. I'm not referring to the military. So don't misinterpret that. I'm talking about behavior. Well, I guess we're at 40 minutes now. Something to think about, because I want to go camping. And And I'm sick and tired of money getting in the way of it. Yeah,